Hey, it's been a couple of weeks since I was able to get a video out to you, and I wanted to push one out this afternoon. It's about day 60 on my Corona beard. I didn't think it would ever grow this, I would go this long with it, but I'm sort of getting used to it. Sort of nice not having to shave every day. But I also want to let you know I have not been sitting at home knitting. Okay, I've actually been quite busy. 2 years ago, I put together a management team of very seasoned executives. We've all done a number of startups, corporate turnarounds, run a number of organizations, and our game was basically to help people make their businesses work, either to do startups or take businesses and turn them around. Now, there's a sort of a motto that I live my life by, and the motto is good judgment comes from experience. And a lot of experience comes from bad judgment. And if I have to look at really the constant that's been in my life, it's like I have gotten in so many things and I failed and I failed and I failed. And I was with the wrong teams and it was the wrong products, it was the wrong businesses. In my speaking career, those of you that know my path to the world championship was 13 years of failing and writing speeches wrong. And I finally had good judgment on how to write a speech because I had developed so much experience from the bad judgment I had. And the same is very true with me in my business world. I've been an executive, a senior executive in a number of businesses. None of them have done what I wanted them to do. And for a long time, I was very frustrated with that. I've done, I think, at least 5 startups. I've turned around at least a half a dozen companies. I've had a number of failures in addition to those where they didn't start or they didn't turn around. And it can get frustrating because you want to connect and hit a couple balls out of the park once in a while, get a couple home runs and have some things that really work. But what's happened with me in my business career is that I've had so much experience from all that bad judgment I have that now I'm starting to see this experience and good judgment just be able to play across the boards. And the team I have is absolutely phenomenal. And just from some success tips, some things I've really found was you sort of have to find your tribe. You have to find your group that you're going to work with. And I thought I found that a number of times in the business world. I finally have put together just a phenomenal group and team, and we're making phenomenal strides in a lot of fronts. And I can't go into all that, but I just want to share with you, we got this one project on our plate, which was to sell all the equipment that was in this warehouse for this client of one of my partners. And so we had to move all this equipment. And so we were going to look, do we do an online business and try to sell it all off? What do we do? Well, we found one guy that needs it. But the problem was he's waiting for a contract to come from a major supplier to him, or a major company that he supplies rather. And if he gets that contract, he can buy the warehouse and all the equipment. We said, okay, great. Well, we talked to that company to see what's happening with it. And then he says, well, I'm waiting for this other bigger company to actually give me the contract. What wound up happening was, as we climbed this ladder, we just kept taking more and more and more responsibility. And we wound up, that's why I haven't had time to do a video for the last 3 weeks, wound up putting over 400 pages of due diligence together in 25 chapters with six different entities to make this deal work. Now, as you're going along, you just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, all just to get this one warehouse so that everything clicked and everybody worked with it. But I heard something that I'd never heard before, and I want to share this with you. I had to call one company about 15 times one day, and I kept having to have another question, and then something else would come up. I have another question, and I told him, I said, look, I'm really sorry I'm having to call this often. And he said, that's okay, Lance. He goes, you don't get to be a champion and have a clean uniform. And that really hit me because I was up to my elbows in this thing, as dirty as I could be, but we were making it work. And I look back at so many things that I've done in my life to get to the point where I was competent. I didn't get there with a clean uniform on. I got there because I got down and I grappled and I was dirty and I wrestled with everything I had to wrestle with, and I fell on my face and I kept pushing myself forward. Now, a lot of those are, analogies for what occurred, but trust me, you can fall on your face literally, or you can fall on your face figuratively. And a lot of times literally is less painful than the figurative process of it. But during the same time period, I've been coaching scores, I don't know, probably 40 or 50 people on the international speech competition in Toastmasters, which is where the final winner gets the World Championship of Public Speaking. And there's people that call me and we go through their speech and I see what's going on with it. And they're totally willing to do whatever it takes with that speech to make the speech work. And there's other people that call and we start to rework the speech and they just go completely like upset that I'm changing their speech so much. And I'm not actually changing it. I'm recommending that they change it. And they said, you're completely changing how I wrote my speech. You know, and here's the point. They're not willing to get dirty. They're not willing to go, I'm going to rip this thing apart. And I thought it was great, but I see where there's some holes in it. The message isn't clear, whatever. I need to maybe even do a completely different speech. They're not willing to get dirty to be a champion. The other people are looking at it. And sometimes sometimes I'll have people rewrite a speech 4 or 5 times. And then after that time, we take a little piece out of each one of them and we put together a phenomenal speech. But that's the type of work that goes into it. And that's the type of work I put into my speaking when I was competing. So here's the message I just want to leave you with today. And I wanted to shoot something out to you. I enjoy having the relationship I do with all the people on my email list. And I try to get something out to you every week. And I apologize. I've just been literally 16 hours a day sitting right here on my computer for the last 3 weeks. The point is, you don't get to be a champion live with a clean uniform. You got to get down sometimes and wrestle in the mud and get dirty to come out the other side. And you can always clean yourself up. But if you just try to stay clean and never try to get dirty and have everything go just like you want it to without really rolling up your sleeves and making it happen, very seldom have I ever found that works. So here's to being a champion and here's to having a dirty uniform.